All right, we are live on Facebook, you guys. Happy Sunday to everyone out here on social media land. It is the Trichology Collective coming to you with that goodness. We always want to bring awareness about anything that pertains to your hair and your health. We're trying to bring a new perspective when it comes to dealing with your health and dealing with hair growth. So today we're going to have a conversation about nutrition. I want to first off introduce myself. I am Kai Smith, the founder of the American Academy of Hair and Scalp Diseases, where we certify beauty pros to become trichologists. And I've been in the beauty industry nearly 30 years now. And I'm an author. I'm very passionate about helping my peers identify hair loss behind the chair. I'm very passionate about helping women discover the unknown factors regarding their hair loss as well. So many things on my resume, but just know that I am qualified to come to you speaking the language to support you in uncovering what's going on with yourself. So I want you guys to feel free to ask questions. I got my right hand, Nicola Forbes Martin here out of New York. I got my girl, Dania Durden here out of Georgia. So, Nicola, can you give a little background on yourself just quickly with the people?
Absolutely, Kai. So I'm Nicola Forbes Martin. Been 26 years licensed in the business. I also serve as a hairstylist as well as a trichologist. The thing that really drives me every day is to be able to help my clients that sit behind the chair understand why hair is falling or why hair is not as up to par. And even better, to sit with my peers and watch the light bulbs go off. That is what drives me in this season of my life. So y'all hang on. We got some good stuff for you.
Yes, Ms. Dania Durden, can you introduce yourself to the people?
Hey everybody, I have been in the industry as a hairstylist for 9 years, as a trichologist for almost 1 year. But my whole career has been focused on healthy hair practices, teaching clients how to maintain at home, and adding trichology has just allowed me to have deeper conversations and help people from a different perspective. Because a lot of times we think it's all about products and topical knowledge when it's so much deeper than that. So I'm so glad I embarked on this journey.
I'm glad you embarked on the journey too. So you guys, we're coming very lighthearted today. We just want to share some things with you guys as we learn new things about our customers, as we learn new things about ourselves. And we just want you guys to know that you're not alone in this thing, but nutrition is at the forefront of all life-giving things. Nutrition, whether you're a plant, whether you're an animal, whether you're a human, nutrition is at the forefront of that. And I think that it is the least talked about thing as it relates to hair growth, is that we're all looking for the quick fixes to grow healthy hair. We're all looking for the quick fixes to stop hair loss. But when we look at what's on the tip of our fork, is what's on the tip of our fork reflecting what we desire? And I think that it's the furthest thing from our minds when we start thinking about growing hair, because mainstream media has conditioned us to think that everything concerning our hair is in a bottle. But everything concerning your hair on a scientific level is on your fork, not in your cabinet, not packaged in something that's processed, but it comes from real live living foods. That's where you're going to get your enzymes from to help you digest. That's where you're going to get your macronutrients from to help those break down into micronutrients so that you can build the metabolism to maintain a balance, or homeostasis, as I refer to it, to yield healthy cellular regeneration. It's not just healthy hair, but it's healthy cellular regeneration. Because guys, guess what? If our bodies are not fed on a nutritional level, then nothing ever reaches the hair cell regeneration. Nothing ever reaches that point, because hair only gets fed once the rest of the body is fed. So wherever there's a deficiency, then the body recognizes that the hair is not necessary to live. So the hair will die off while the body is trying to give life to other organs that are needed to sustain our health, our existence. So I think that we need to put more focus into how we eat, what we eat, which also leads me to, there's so many different fad diets going on out here. So many different things that people are jumping on, keto, they're jumping on, Mediterranean, they're jumping on, just removing all carbs from the diet altogether. They're jumping on pescatarian, vegan, vegetarian. And while I'm not against any specific way of eating, my concern is that when we start eliminating specific types of foods or specific macronutrients from the diet is where we start falling short. That's where we get ourselves in trouble, because the majority of these Atkins style diets, these keto style diets, even your blood type style diets, they eliminate so much. And the blood type diet is considered an anti-inflammatory diet, which is a good base, but it can also be so restrictive that a person's palate may be turned off by the certain foods that they can eat, that they don't eat them, which causes them to eliminate macronutrients that are needed to break down into micronutrients. And so I want to kind of explain the macronutrient thing. Though that's going to be your carbs, that's going to be your proteins, that's going to be your fats, it's going to be, water. We need all of these things to give life, to the body, to the cells of the body. And then, by the way, those break down in our digestive tract, it's going to then break into a micro form, which is going to give you all of your vitamins and minerals that you need based on the macronutrients that you're intaking. So you see, you can't eliminate a specific food, fat, protein, or carb. Now, there are some types of fats you should stay away from. There are specific type of protein that you should stay away from. There is specific fats that you should stay away from. But at the end of the day, when we understand how to eat properly, we can make better food choices, because a lot of us, we kind of mono eat, some of us. And what I mean by mono eat is we stick with specific types of foods and we only eat that. And this is why we end up deficient in all types of vitamins and minerals, because we don't realize that it doesn't contain enough macros, because we mono eat to get the nutrients that we need. So when we learn how to eat a more diverse diet, we can pick up more macros. We can get an abundance of the carbs, the complex carbs, and we can get, the saturated fats that we need. We can get the protein that we need. We can get our lean proteins, and if you do decide, like, I just don't want to eat meat at all, it's not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm not pro eating meat or against eating meat. I am pro balanced lifestyle as far as nutrition is concerned. And I believe that whichever way you choose, that you can have a balanced diet either way, and your body can be healthy either way, whatever it is that you choose. But what I think is that some of us are ignorant to nutrition, and we don't really know what to put on our plate. And then we hear our friends doing X, Y, and Z, or we see social media going in a specific direction because of X, Y, and Z, and we don't do our due diligence. And then we don't realize what our own individual deficiencies are to begin with, to see what it is that we need more of on our plate. If you are a person who is working out aggressively, you're going to need more protein and you're going to need more carbohydrates in order to get you what you need. You're going to need the carbohydrates to first get you the energy to get that metabolism going. And then you're going to need the protein to rebuild what you're tearing down, to burn fat and all of those other things as you're busting through muscles and, tissues and things. So I think we need to understand our own individual situation, because you can live in a household with, your husband, your kids, your mom, whoever you're living with, and each person requires something different. So I think because we came up with mom and them, grandmama and them, where, we all just ate the same things, I think that, we kind of just still go with that tradition, our culture, and it allows us to miss a lot of macros when it comes to eating. But we should really be concerned with what our individual body needs. I have an 8-year-old. I have to look at her needs. What is it that she's needing right now? She's growing. So if I ever did decide to go, vegan, vegetarian, I would need to watch how I remove things from her diet because she's still growing. And I don't want to remove said proteins without understanding how to replace those proteins properly, because I could really hinder her health more than supporting her health. And it's the same even with adults, understanding what we need on a protein level before you start removing proteins. And then I also look at when you have said medical illnesses, if you have, a diabetes, or you have high blood pressure, or you have kidney issues, certain things that you can and cannot eat as a result of those conditions. Diabetes is something that sticks out a lot for me, because the first thing that we're told to do is to remove the fruits from our diet. There are so many different fruits that we can eat when we look at the glycemic index. My question is, when they tell you to remove the fruits, where else are you supposed to get the raw vitamins and minerals? Because you're looking for it in a box. Where are you looking for it? Because you're not going to get what you need if it's processed. So my concern is that when we're told to just remove specific fruits and things like that from our diet, and we have diabetes, it becomes a fruit fear. And it becomes a fruit fear because we know that fruit is high in sugar and it will drive the glucose levels up in the body. But the bigger picture with that is that there's a bigger issue going on with the liver. And the liver can't respond to the pancreas the way it needs to for the pancreas to secrete the insulin that's necessary to bind to that sugar, to absorb it so that it can get into the cells and out of the bloodstream. So to me, the focus is on not eating fruits, when the focus really should be on what do we need to do to get this liver balanced enough so that it can start supporting the other organs that need to be supported to secrete the hormones necessary to use the sugar. Because they tell you to stop eating sugar, but they don't tell you to stop eating as many fats. And fats have to be broken down in the liver, which is still overworking the liver. And fats is the secondary source of energy for the body in the way that it uses energy for mitochondria in the body. So it's just really, really understanding your body and what it needs. And a lot of times we've overworked and overused and abused our body that it's sounding off alarms to us. It's sounding off alarms. Hi, Muriel. It's sounding off alarms to us because it's not working properly. And rather than just altogether eliminating specific foods and staying away from it, we need to see what we need to do to rebuild those body systems back up so that it can start processing like it's supposed to again. So again, understanding what each person's individual needs are on an individual basis instead of looking at how to cook as a whole for your entire family. I want to bring Nicola and Dania in to just kind of piggyback off of what I'm saying with some of their own personal experiences as professionals behind the chair and as a trichologist.
First, I want to just say, you just said a whole lot of things that we don't talk about. Like you said, growing up, everybody eats the same thing, but even when you start to like grocery shop on your own or change those habits, even just as simple as only shopping on the outer perimeter of the grocery store, you start to feel a difference in the way your body responds. Even especially when it comes to, like you were talking about with working out. You can't work out and have eating habits that are not benefiting you. And then a lot of people are always saying they're not losing weight. It's the workout is not working, or it's the trainer, when really what we eat has so much more impact on our lives than the workout. So I think it's interesting that you said that, because when I talk to my clients, most of the time they have not thought about anything when it comes to that, because we're accustomed to that routine or that lifestyle, because like you said, that's what our families grew up on. But when you break that, it's like breaking a cycle. As soon as you do it and you start to do it and you stick to it and you notice the difference, those are the things that allow us to live healthier lives. Those are the things that allow us to, bypass these diseases that the whole family has, or even just the illnesses together, the medications, because a lot of times, especially when I have clients that are like mother and daughter, they're always on the same medications. But it goes back to they grew up or they eat the same exact foods.
I agree, Dania. I think we have normalized having what everybody else has. Oh, my mother had it. My grandmother had it. My whole family has it. Not really paying attention to why they have it. And we're so accustomed to just, and most of us just want a tablet. We don't want to put the work in because it takes work, and so you may get the information and there's no consistency in applying the information. And so that's the piece that I see a lot of. And some people just don't know. I had one lady, diabetes for over 10 years, and her first meal is a bowl of fruit and oatmeal, the first meal of the morning. Not to say, like I said, you can have fruit. It's just what type of fruits are best for you. And in moderation is everything. So I find that across the board is we just don't, can I explain somebody's lazy? Because I can be lazy too. Yeah. But there's a space of valuing yourself and kind of having that different conversation with yourself. Like, listen, I got to get this together because I can look at family members and see what my life could be like. And I would think that in this time and season that we're in, I don't think we're as healthy as our grandparents. I don't think we're as healthy as some of our parents. So down the line, we're experiencing a decline in our health just because of lifestyle, because of everything that we go through. But the nutrition, like Kai said, and you said, Dania, is everything to help the body be in homeostasis. Yeah.
Yes. And like you said, I think it's a form of self-care. Like if we started looking at that as self-care, like we do getting facials and massages and all those things, we would be in such a better place and overall just mentally, because what we eat affects everything.
Everything.
That's good.
Everything.
From energy to hormones to, we can get till tomorrow to talk about what food affects and how it influences our body and our body systems. But it's being mindful and paying attention. And the information is out there. You can get the information. It's free 99 on the internet. But if you don't know how to maneuver with that, then you look for somebody that's going to help you in that space. So, but it's there, and it's questions you can ask. It's about choosing you. And a lot of us have grown up in a space of not seeing that, seeing our parents sacrifice everything to the point that they don't sleep, they don't even eat themselves, and because they want to take care of us as kids. But that's there has to be a space for caring for yourself, in especially with nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I totally agree with that. And I think that when you speak about lazy, Nicola, and I can be a part of that also. It depends on where your mindset is at the moment. It depends on how you prepare. It depends on your surroundings, how you're feeling about yourself. Because the one thing is you have to be able to envision yourself as being healthy first. Being healthy starts in your mind. And if you don't see yourself as a healthy person, then you're going to make poor food choices, and we speak about being emotional, suppressed emotions that are there in the subconscious that are dictating our behaviors, not just our physical behaviors, but our food patterns, our food choices as well. I've spoken many times on my platform about picking salty foods, and that, that actually being something that's nudging on the resentment or the anger that's there. Salty foods actually help to support that, that emotion, that feeling, that craving. When you're wanting something that's more sweet, it's because of the love that maybe you're needing to feel. And so those foods, those ice cream kinds of foods, those sugary kinds of foods, that is all stemming from a place where you feel like you need more love, and it subsides that craving. But a lot of cravings, it not only exposes emotions, but it also exposes nutritional deficiencies, vitamin, mineral deficiencies. When you speak about a woman who has pica when she's pregnant, just wanting to eat dirt and things that have minerals in it. But dirt isn't something that the body is going to be able to recognize as a mineral. It recognizes it by a plant, but not for a person. And so when we look at that, that's a woman who's needing more vitamins and minerals, in her body. There's so many different types of cravings that we have. When you start talking about, eating for when you're pregnant, there's a certain amount of nutrition that we have to start intaking before we even conceive. A lot of women's pregnancies are not planned, so we don't get the opportunity to keep our bodies healthy and to prepare for that fetus, but we should, because there's certain vitamin levels that we need to maintain in order for the fetus to be able to grow at every phase that it goes through neurologically and all of these other, important factors. Folate is a really huge component when you're looking at spina bifida and so many other things that we need to make sure that we have in our diet when we are pregnant or before we get pregnant. And even though a lot of emphasis is put on the on the woman, when we're going to conceive, when we're preparing to conceive, or after conception, there should be more emphasis placed on the man, because his sperm carries a whole lot as well. So it's not just the woman and how she is vitamin nutritionally, it is the man's sperm also that has to be full of nutrients as well in order to make a healthy baby. So when you're looking at DNA, when you're looking at all of those genetics, when you're looking at nutrition, it's not just the woman, the man is involved in that too, and how healthy he really is. I want to share something. I want to share something, be very transparent in something. And this is why I love, and Nicole and Dania, they didn't know I was going to share this. This is getting ready to go. I just feel inspired to share. And I like being transparent, because when you see us on this platform, it isn't because we are better than anybody that we serve. It's because we have our own journey that we track and we make discoveries. And that's what makes us better when we work hand in hand in the trenches with the people that we support, the students that myself and Nicola train, as well as the women and children that we work with inside of our clinics as well. But for myself, I remember being pregnant, and I remember giving birth to my daughter. And when I gave birth to her, I remember them telling me that she was borderline jaundice. I remember them telling me that. And they kept doing the blood test just to see. Ended up not happening, right? But the more I grow in what I do, and the more I understand the body, certain things started happening to her as she continued to progress as an infant into a toddler, and certain things that I noticed as a young growing girl, right? So I'm about to tie all of this in for you guys so that you can see why we are qualified to help you. While we're not doctors, we're qualified to make identifications that can support you with your doctor. That's why we work as a liaison between you and your doctor to help you get better health care, right? And so now they say that, she was borderline, meaning her bilirubin was a little high, but it was just borderline, that she wasn't jaundice, so they didn't have to put her under the light. There was no issues. So keep the borderline in your mind, because I always say, and this is what I teach my students, and this is what I teach my customers, is that anytime Western medicine tells you that you borderline, you already are. You already are. It's just that their blood tests, the way that they measure them, it's tested and based on people who are already ill, borderline, moderately, or severely. But when you compare that to someone who is free of disease, what does that number look like? It's going to change exponentially, right? And so I wasn't thinking like this as a new mom when they told me that she was borderline. I'm like, oh, she's borderline. Okay, she's not. Woo! It was just she wasn't, and I was good. So fast forward to she was about 6 months old, and I started noticing. Actually, she wasn't even 6 months old yet. She might have been 3 months old. She was 3 months old, and she started budding. What I mean by budding is she started growing little small breasts, and I could see them protruding through her little onesie. And I kept on looking, because I know that my infant is not growing breasts, right? And so I'm like, this is not right. So I take her to the doctor. First, I'm researching all over Google, and I take her to the doctor, and they're like, oh no, it's just hormones from you that you passed to her through birth. It'll dissipate. It'll go away. It went away. But then at about 6 months, I remember I was at a bakery in Long Beach, California, and I had to change my daughter really quickly. She had soiled her diaper. I was in the parking lot. So I changed her in the seat, the front seat of the car, in the driver's seat. So the way the sun was angled in and coming through when I was changing her diaper, I saw peach fuzz on her vagina. And I was like, what in the world is this? Now we escalate this and she sees an endocrinologist. So as she sees the endocrinologist, they're like, oh no, she's fine. Everything is fine. Well, she was growing breasts at 3 months and she got a little peach fuzz at 6. So something's not right. Oh, well, the peach fuzz ended up going away, not having an issue. But now as I watch her as she's growing older, I can see certain traits in her as a trichologist that I'm starting to look at as being hormonal imbalances, right? And then I had to take myself back to the very beginning. And when I took myself back to the very beginning, at birth, she had issues with bilirubin buildup, not releasing from her blood, right? That is the liver. That is an issue with the liver. Now she's days old in the hospital and the liver is not leaving her blood like it's supposed to. It's building up, which is causing the issue with jaundice, right? Say she never had it, everything went away, but that's letting me know that her liver is sluggish. This is all hindsight for me. As I continue to study, as I do more work, I'm able to help more people. I get more cases, all of these things that comes together. So you look at this newborn building up bilirubin. They let her go because everything ended up dissolving and it was fine. 3 months, she has buds. Well, that means that she's having higher levels of estrogen. Well, the liver is responsible for detoxifying the excess estrogen that our body does not need. Oh, now she's growing hair. Well, that is also reproductive hormones there that she should not have, meaning her liver is not detoxing it out of her system the way it's supposed to. Then I'm looking at now, as she's a growing girl, I'm looking at the imbalances that I'm seeing. So now what is that telling me? What it's telling me is I need to work on detoxifying my daughter's liver because she's had this issue since birth, which the doctors never picked up on, right? So there's continuity. And the theme is she's having issues with detoxifying her liver, which if you don't get a hold of it, because the liver is the body's detoxifying system, one of the excretory systems, then that could lead to a myriad of problems as she becomes in puberty stage, right? That can lead to a buildup of excessive hormones in her body, namely androgens, which could bring on a polycystic ovarian syndrome kind of situation if I don't catch it in its early phases because her liver is not detoxifying properly. So I'm sharing all of these things with you because these are the things that we look deeply into, but also I didn't just want to share that just for the sake of sharing it. I wanted to share it because that could also come from her dad and I not having a healthy body when we conceived and passing that on to her because she didn't have the right nutritional factors to build up on as a fetus. Right. And then I didn't breastfeed because she wasn't latching on correctly. So she didn't get the colostrum that she needed to build the healthy immune system and things like that. She was fed formula. So you're looking at all of these things. And I'm just being really transparent with you guys in this process right now, just to give you a real live picture, because I never want you guys to think that we come on here looking, at you guys, shaking our fingers like you got to do better, because we are all one and we are all in this together. And we like to use our own real life experiences to help you with yours so that you don't have to feel ashamed about anything that you're going through. Right. And so also looking at some of the things that we were doing nutritionally as she grew up, because mom and them taught us how to eat. So we're eating like this too. And then we are exacerbating the already overloaded, sluggish liver with improper foods, high saturated fat food, things, a lot of sugar, all those things. So looking at the nutritional factors as an 8-year-old so that we can kind of go in and rebalance that and teach her the things that she's supposed to do. Why? Because her mommy understands the body systems and I can protect her in that capacity, knowing what I know. And we can protect you and your family too, knowing what we know. So you don't have to get to the point of hair loss to need somebody to support you as a whole with your situation, because the biggest thing is really looking at prevention, right? You know, so I just kind of wanted to share that. Do any one of you ladies want to jump in there?
Thank you for sharing that, because as someone who has not had children, before trichology, I used to hear people say their child had jaundice, didn't know what it was or why, but it seemed so normal. So the fact that you just shared from your experiences, and it just allows me to see that we all are exactly where we're supposed to be, helping exactly who we need to, because you still took that information and you started an academy, because someone like me was always taught that was normal. They just put the baby under the light and everybody's just like, oh, when the baby goes home, everything's good. But like you said, no, it's not okay.
I agree, Dania. But what excites me is the fact that we can put the pieces of the puzzle together, that we can actually sit back and say, okay, where did this all start, and track what's happening, and then make suggestions and recommendations. So for me, it's absolutely everything to be able to know how to maneuver that. And I will tell you, even for myself, and we do it for ourselves too, what's going on, why is this happening, and we track it back for ourselves as well. So that's a piece that not only will you be able to help your clients, but be able to help yourself and your family. I'm good for that. They call me the doctor, which I'm not a doctor, but they always like, you know what to do, Nick. So I'm figuring it out for them. So it's great that you can actually help yourself, your family, and the people that sit in your chair.
Yes. Hey, Marlo, how you doing? Marlo is actually a newly registered student for the American Academy of Hair and Scalp Diseases. So she's fresh into training for trichology. Thank you for joining us, Marlo. Is there anything that either one of you ladies want to share as you've been studying, nutrition, as you may have been studying nutrition, and then out of the blue, you notice one of your clients? And I know, Nicola, that you were sharing about the diabetes thing, but is there anything specific in any of your hair loss cases that you made discoveries where this is the biggest thing? I know. Let me say this really quickly before we jump into that I know, like, CCCA, central centrifugal cicatricial alopecia, is one of the biggest problems that we have, one of the number one causes of hair loss with African American women. And it's not just limited to African American women, but we see it's more prevalent in African American women. And the doctors are giving them all of these, antibiotics. They're giving them these corticosteroid injections, these corticosteroid creams, all of these different things I see. But the biggest thing is that, why is your immune system responding to your hair follicles that way in the first place? Why is your immune system so hyperactive that it's recognizing your hair, your scalp tissue as a foreign invader? First of all, why does your doctor want to give you an antibiotic for the CCCA? So when we're looking at that, it makes me look at all of the things that they're doing to get the said inflammation under control in the scalp, but the inflammation didn't derive in the scalp. The inflammation is settling in the scalp, but the inflammation derived in the gastrointestinal system. And it's sparking a flame under the immune system that then goes haywire, and wherever you're weakest, that's where it's going to settle. And a lot of African American women is settling in our hair follicles, is destructing hair follicles. And so what makes me say that is because if you really want to learn how to manage your CCCA, look on the tip of your fork. But see, that is one of the things that we as people lack self-discipline. We as people allow our emotions to dictate 90% of how we respond to the world. That this is why we can't get our eating habits under control, myself included. Right? I go work out and have a really good workout, and then I say, I deserve this.
Yep.
I'm gonna eat this because I deserve it. I worked out hard. So we allow our emotions to dictate so much of our actions and how we react or respond to life, that if we could only be more disciplined as a person, we will find that a lot of our illnesses would subside. Becoming more disciplined with what we eat. what we put on the tip of our fork, because food can either kill you or it can heal you. It's a choice. So I want to now go back to Nicola or Dania, or both of you. Do you guys have any situations where you've been doing some research with your customers and on nutrition, and you find their whole entire life in this thing that you've researched with nutrition?
So for me, one thing that I always try to tell my clients is pay attention to when you eat, how your body responds, because it'll tell you when it's not the food you're eating is not digesting well, not absorbing well. Things like flatulence, bloating, extreme fatigue, sometimes vomiting. And so I had a client that sat with me, and we just haven't. She's been with me for a little while, just talking in the consultation, and she's like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm vomiting. And I dig deeper to say, well, what are you eating when you're vomiting? And her high fat content, even though she's eating a healthy fat, was making her vomit. So that's one example of me showing her, hey, this is what's happening. This is the test that you need to go rerun with your doctor. This is how you have to manage your digestive system while it heals itself. And so that has been affecting her thyroid. So the piece that she was in tears, hugging me like, I cannot believe nobody told me this. And so I know you guys can relate to nobody told me this. And that is, it makes me almost want to cry. But that's what we see in our chair on a regular basis. Nobody told me that, because if I have to monitor my fats, sometimes a healthy fat is just too much, So that's a piece. Pay attention to your body. It's speaking, it's screaming, it's not whispering, but we just normalize it and we kind of move on today and say, okay, I'm just going to drink some tea or some water. It's just how I got to be, because grandma was like that and mama was like that, and now everybody's like that. And I'll share a joke with you, because my grandmother used to belch a lot. But now I found out that she actually had her gallbladder removed and some other surgeries as well. But we laugh now. We say, oh, we messed with her so much. Now we're starting to do that. And I had to catch myself. I was like, that's not going to be me. So I pay attention to the foods that make me feel like that belching. And you'd be so surprised, by eliminating one thing, I don't have that problem anymore. So it's just pay attention to what the body's saying. If it's not reacting right, pull back and leave it alone.
Yes. I think the one thing that I was thinking about, Kai, when you mentioned the emotions, I had a client, she lost her father. And she's a hairstyling client, but she's been through the detox series with me for her scalp. And it flared up extremely bad when her father died. But I was able to speak to her from personal experience of how I responded when my stepfather died. Because like you said, emotion leads. And she didn't even realize that the change in her eating habits to make her feel comfortable and fill that void were showing up on her scalp, because she was like, I'm not sure why we're back here. And I sat down and looked her in her face, and I was like, you're eating emotionally right now. You've completely eliminated your eating plan or how you normally have been eating. And I get it. But these are the things that are going to keep triggering this and showing up on your scalp, because those things are not good in your digestive system right now. And she was like, you don't think about, nobody's ever explained to me. I was like, no, I said, we don't talk about those things. I said, we talk about how what we listen to and what we watch impacts us, but we don't talk about what we eat impacts us. So it's interesting. And I just like to be able to, when I was in your course, that's what I learned to do first, is take a look at myself. Because when people can look at you as the professional, but they can also see that you've been there, they trust you more.
And God knows we've all been there, been there. And so we just, want to bring to you real life stuff, y'all. Everybody has stuff. Nobody is free of stuff. But we have to start becoming accountable for our bodies. We only get one body to live in, right? And we want to cherish that. Because most of us, we start waiting for the body to break down before we start trying to treat it right. At that point, it's already, starting to break down, right? So it's like, let's practice good health so we don't have to experience the bad health. I'm not saying that we're going to live here forever. That's not the idea, but you want a quality of life while you're here. And I say that because most times the reason why people have dementia is because of the eating habits, all of the toxins building up neurologically, and it starts affecting the brain, right? And so nobody wants to live here and have their brain die before their body, right? So it's about day-to-day choices. And if you make a wrong choice one day, don't just fall out and stay there and say, oh, well, I messed up today, so I'm just going to keep on going. No, get back up. It's not how many times you slip off. It's about how many times you continue to get back up, because you are determined. It's not a perfect situation. I always say my rule is the 80-20 rule. 80% I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. So 20% I can have the things I like, because I'm a foodie. I like to eat. It's a thing. I like eating. I like how it tastes, but if I do right more than what I do wrong, then I can balance that, because there's not going to be a perfect scenario, right? And I also want to go back to something that Nicola said earlier, is about how our grandparents and stuff were more healthier than what we were. And a lot of that is because the food is not made the same as it was when they were growing up. They grew a lot of their foods, crops and things. And now with all of the GMOs, all the preservatives that's put in the foods, you don't know if what you're getting is what you think you're getting. Because there's so many things that have been modified in our foods. And then the foods that are growing from the soil nowadays, they're already minerally deprived when they come out of the ground. They don't have everything they need in them. So and this is my opinion. Nicola and Dania may not feel the same way, but that's why we're the Trichology Collective, because sometimes we do have our own opinions and the things that we believe in, how we practice, and that's what makes this world go round, right? But it's my opinion that this is why we have supplements. We have supplements because we're not getting everything out of our daily diet. And so we pick up those vitamins and minerals from the supplement. It's called supplement, not replacement. And I say that because a supplement is for you to supplement, to offset the extra that you need to balance it out, not to replace just what you're not getting. And what I mean by that is because people decide they want to take these hair, skin, and nail vitamins because they want their hair to grow sooner, quicker, faster. They decide that they're going to take biotin because their dermatologist told them just to take biotin because their hair is coming out. But biotin is a water-soluble vitamin. So if you don't need it, it's just going to be excreted in your urine. That's all. You're going to have some expensive pee at the end of the day. But taking supplements to supplement what your food's not giving you, because you've already made the wise choices on your plate, not replacing what a balanced diet is supposed to give you. So you think you can just take this vitamin. And a lot of times people who are looking at these influencers, and I don't want to make Dania or Nicola feel uncomfortable. So this is not them saying this. This is Kai saying this, that I did a live that talked about the Goli vitamins. And I talked about Miss Tabitha Brown, whom I love. Definitely love her, what she's bringing, her element, her peace, her positivity. So I'm going to establish that there. So as I said on my other live, don't y'all come for me because I mentioned Miss Tabitha Brown. I'm being clear about that. I'm serious about mine when I say that, because this is not about Tabitha Brown. This is about Goli vitamins. Right? But she's the influencer. She's the celebrity that they've used because she has influence to sell. But not everybody who has influence has the education needed to sell you a thing. Okay? So we can't just go and buy things because a celebrity that's doing well, that we love, we adore. We can't just make decisions because we love somebody. We love you and we care for you. We want to see you win, black magic, because I do, because I love her and Chance, but that Goli thing threw me, and I just have to keep it really real, is that it threw me because she's saying, oh, you can get 1,000 grapes by taking this gummy. You can get 500 blueberries from taking this gummy. Y'all got to eat y'all y'all vegetables, y'all fruits, your grains. You got to eat it, because these gummies have, if you look on and flip them over, they full of sugar and they not as full of the vitamins and minerals that they are claiming. The front is going to market to your pain points. The back is going to tell you what's there. But a lot of us don't move past the front because we trying to shortcut it and replace it in the first place. It's not a shortcut to eating right, taking a Goli. It's not. We've got to eat right. We've got to get our nutrition in. We cannot shortcut the body. A lot of us are out here working out, trying to be skinny, skimping on our diets and not getting enough macronutrients in. And our cells are screaming. They're screaming because we're not rebuilding the body with what's being depleted. So you guys, don't try to shortcut. Don't go out and buy those Golies because Miss Tabitha Brown told you to buy some Golies and you were going to be able to get 1,000 grapes, 1,500 pomegranates, and all of these other things in it. That did something to my spirit when I heard that, because we are looking for a shortcut to growing healthy hair. We are looking for a shortcut to being healthy, and there is no shortcut to being healthy, you guys. We got to first think it in our mind before we can achieve it in our body. And you're worth more than a shortcut. You're worth more than a shortcut. You're worth more than just a little gummy. Chewing 5 or 6 gummies, getting all those carbohydrates. Liver and pancreas probably can't even handle all of that sugar you're taking in. Let alone the juices and all of the other processed foods that are high in sodium and high in sugar and all of that stuff. There's no way to shortcut it. And so I wanted to just say that. And that's why I said what I said first, because I do recognize that I have 2 other ladies on the platform with me that have their own brand, and I never want to speak for them. So that's why I said what I said first, because I'm gonna always say what I think is truth. You know, but you ladies want to add anything else to that?
I just agree. I do think that the world we live in is microwave. Everybody wants everything quick, fast, and in a hurry. And so often, you know, my clients come in there like, oh, I'm trying this, oh, I'm trying this. And the first thing I say is, what are your reasons? Because if the only reason you can give me is because you saw an influencer post it, but that influencer is also not, like you said, not educated on how these things work or if they really work and all those things. So we have to be mindful of what marketing is, because it's marketing.
And let me just say this, because Miss Tabitha Brown is taking care of herself, y'all. She comes to you with her recipes, her vegan recipes that she's making, and how she's making wise food choices, though, at the foundation. So if she want to pop a Goli, let her pop one, because she's already gotten the fresh live stuff in her diet from the beginning. But do you see how that looks? So you miss that piece about what's on her plate and what's in her kitchen and what she's eating, but you only picked up the shortcut piece about the Goli. So while her skin is glowing and looking beautiful, like chocolate, like smooth chocolate, and her curls are popping because, you know, her hair is beautiful. While all of that is manifesting externally, it's because of what she's putting in internally. But also look at the peace that comes with her spirit. She's not in turmoil in her spirit while she's coming to y'all with these Golies. So she's doing her own self-work. Y'all need to pick up on that piece too.
I completely agree with you. But before Golies, I was telling clients, gummies are just no good. Gummies are filled with sugar and fillers. So yes, you feel good because it gives you a boost of energy, but then you get a drop in that energy within a couple of hours of taking it. So Goli or no Goli, gummies just in general are just no good because they appeal to taste first, not nutrition. And the taste is the sweetness that most of us like. So we'll pop up all day long because this is good for me. But in actuality, it really is doing the opposite. So yeah, whether it's Goli or not, I'm against gummies, period.
Absolutely. And when we make vitamin selections for my 8-year-old, I don't even give her a gummy. I will opt for a liquid version of a vitamin before I give her a gummy. Absolutely. And so we're not going to hold you guys here. We just kind of wanted to come and have a little chat with you guys about nutrition and why it's so important. It's not just important for hair growth. It's important to sustain life. It's important to sustain life. Hair grows organically if you're taking care of the body, if you're taking care of the soil. And the way to feed the soil is through your macronutrients so that you can get micronutrients. At the end of the day, it's about prevention of hair loss. And the way you're going to do that is by taking care of your body as a whole. We deal with the whole person. We don't compartmentalize hair from body systems. It's the whole person, because the body system that grows the hair is the integumentary system. So we have to remember that that integumentary system is a body system that houses our hair, our skin, and our nails, and our skin happens to be the largest organ. Right? So what we touch goes in. And we touch a lot. We touch a lot without touching it because the environment touches us when we get out in it. So that is the system. That integumentary system is the system that is the protective covering. That's what integumentary is. It's a covering. Your hair is a covering. Your skin is a covering. Your nails are a covering. So when you're looking at all of that, the integumentary system is the system that covers you. In the only way, and it's the system that regenerates cells very, very quickly. And this is why deficiencies will appear in your hair, skin, and nails faster than they will in the rest of your body systems. You can go get a blood test and it may not show up in the blood test, but symptoms are manifesting in the integumentary system. So it's a barometer of your health. It's the window to the inside of your body. So with that said, guys, I want you guys to think about what's on the tip of your fork. Be conscious of it. I'm not saying be perfect, but make better decisions. If you need support, you can contact either one of us. You can contact us both on our social media platforms, in the inbox on IG or Facebook. And if you need further assistance deeper than that, then I suggest getting with a dietitian or some type of naturopathic care so that you can figure out what's going on with you to make better choices. As a whole, and for yourself and your family. What do you want to leave them with, ladies?
Ooh, we said a lot, and I want them to give themselves the grace to know every day is not going to be a perfect day. The best thing I could tell you to do is plan and execute the plan. So what it looks like, meal planning, meal prepping, and making sure you eat on time. That's key. So give yourself the grace to know it's going to take a little while, but keep doing, keep going, and you'll be in a better space before you know it.
Nicola, before Dania chimes in, I want you, because you made a post over the course of this month that was talking about how many times should you eat. So can you just kind of, since you said prepare, meal prep and all that, can you just kind of give us a little bit about that?
Sure. There's different rules to eating. You'll have 6 meals a day. You'll have 3 meals a day. So it all depends on what works for your body. But if you're doing a 6 meals, it's 6 small meals. But remember that every time you eat, it takes energy for the body to digest the food. So I always say, back in the days, we had 3 meals. There was no snacks, no chips, or nothing between. For me personally, I'm going back to the 3. I may have a snack in between. But knowing that those 6 small meals, every time you eat, you need energy to burn to actually digest the food. So whether it's 6 or 3, be mindful of what's in there. Make sure it's complete macronutrients and what serving size based on where you are, because it's not a cookie cutter thing. Some of us need to lose weight. Some need to gain weight. It just all depends on where you're at. But just be mindful of how often you eat and what kind of eating window that you have.
And then also, Nicola, I don't mean to burn you out, but it's just a few posts that you made, you know what I mean, that I want you to kind of just touch on. Like we always talk about this. We talk about this behind the scenes in ID or AHSD or whatever, but can you talk about, for the people, can you just hit on protein? Because a lot of us are going to keto and it's high protein. Talk about what it does to the kidneys. And if a person is having like cardiovascular issues and it's causing them, typically if you're having cardiovascular issues, that means that you're having imbalances with your kidneys anyway. So can you talk about protein as it relates to the kidneys?
Absolutely. So if you're having any kind of any kidney imbalance, kidney disease, its amount of protein and the type of protein that you eat is essential, because eating too much protein will actually tax the kidneys even more, and you'll go into more of a state of going from an imbalance to disease or worse. So I always share that my mom has kidney issues, and just in changing her diet alone, that has allowed her to maintain and not be on any kind of dialysis. So it's really researching what are the best proteins to eat, and then how much you can have in a serving, because your doctor will tell you, your nutritionist will tell you, got to be mindful of that, because we like a lot of things that we normally eat, but it's just too much when your body is going through any kind of imbalance or disease. So,
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Dania, do you have anything that you want to add as we close out?
I just want to say, give yourself grace, because if you've been eating a certain way for 20, 30, 40 years, you're not going to wake up tomorrow and get it right the first day. But give yourself grace. It takes 21 days to form a habit, but start with planning and grocery shopping differently. Once you start differently, whatever is in your house is what we technically eat, right? So a rule of thumb for me is I don't buy certain things, because that limits me eating certain things that I'm used to and familiar with. So then it gets out of sight, out of mind. So give yourself the grace, plan your grocery shopping. Do not go to the store without a list, because that's the biggest setup. But give yourself time to adapt and notice the changes in your body and how you feel, and just overall the way you operate day to day, because you're going to notice your body's responding differently, because we've normalized so many things that are not normal.
I think that was good. That was really good advice.
Thank you.
I think that was really good advice, because you're right. When you've been eating 20, 30, 40 years wrong, that little food demon be in your ear, telling you, you want this. I'm talking y'all all in my backyard right now. That's what it be telling me. I'm just
too.
So have patience with yourself as you form new habits. That's why it starts in the mind, and the way we talk to ourselves, not out loud, but in our minds, the way we respond to how we fall off. What do you say to yourself when you fall off? How are you talking to yourself in your head? Like, we have to learn how to have more loving conversations with ourselves to nurture the person within, so that we can create better habits, right? So we have to first think that we're worthy of being healthy, to then start formulating better habits, so good stuff. This was good, y'all. I appreciate you guys for giving me some of your time on Sunday. As we're all trying to manage our schedules and families and stuff. So I appreciate you both, Nicola and Dania. That's all we got for y'all this Sunday, y'all. So we hope that you guys enjoyed it. Those who have commented on our live, we appreciate you for joining in. Those who are going to catch it on the replay, if you have any questions about anything that we're saying, you can feel free to just type your questions in the comments, and somebody will respond to you. Or if someone specifically resonated with you, myself, Nicola, or Dania, feel free to reach out to either one of us in our inbox, or just, tag our name in the post, so that we will get the notification and one of us will reply back to you, because our mission is to be able to support you in your journey to live in a healthier life, to grow healthy hair. And also, our journey is to support our peers who are seeing these drastic changes behind the chair, and they don't really know how to support their clients. They realize that they've come to a dead end road with products, and that they don't really know how to support their clients. And if that's you, we want to invite you to ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair. What is it, October 24th through the 26th? This coming October 24th through the 26th is on a 3-pay plan right now. You can enroll today for $665. That is on a 3-pay plan. And we encourage you to embark on the trichological journey, because it is so needed. And this is why I always say trichology is the new cosmetology, because you can't practice cosmetology without trichology. And just let me say this too, is that the state of Texas is deregulating so many different things at this point, and soon other states will be deregulating. They want to abolish this doggone cosmetology license so bad. But the thing is while everybody thinks that they can do what we do, they can't. So what I'm saying is, position yourselves, professional hairstylists. because the more they try to deregulate, the more they start allowing specific types of people to start doing hair without a license, different kinds of hair without a license, the more trichology is going to be needed to correct all of this madness that's going on. So you need to get your certification. Alicia, where are you, Alicia? She says, I need to find a trichologist. Can you tell us where you are? Maybe we can direct you, because Dania is in the Atlanta area. Nicola is in the Long Island, New York area. And we're also virtual, and I am virtual only. I'm virtual only. I support everybody virtual. And Nicola can also support virtual. Dania, are you supporting? Oh, you're in McKinney, Texas. Okay. I'm in Texas, but I am not supporting in person yet due to the pandemic. I'm not supporting in person. So you can inbox me or any one of the ladies. Dania, are you supporting virtually?
Yes.
Okay. So any one of us here could support you from where you are. We have a system in place where we can support you without ever having to see you in person. It's very, very effective. So whose ever personality resonates with you, you think you connect with, and you got 3 of us right here that's here to serve you, Alicia. So whatever you choose. What was I saying, y'all? I was saying something before Alicia said that. I don't remember. But anyway, we appreciate you guys, and we're about to get out of here. So ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair, October 24th through the 26th. This is for professionals only. Come and position yourself to be set apart. Position yourself to rescue these clients that are going to be in the hands of unlicensed professionals that are going to need someone with a higher authority to be able to look at their scalp, to look at their hair, to look at their body, to see what is going wrong. That is now a prerequisite to enrolling in the American Academy of Hair and Scalp Diseases. So if you do want to become certified and you choose our organization, the American Academy of Hair and Scalp Diseases, you do have to have completed the 3-day trichological intensive known as ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair. So keep that in mind. Our next enrollment date for AHSD is currently open. We start November 14th, and the prerequisite for ID has to be fulfilled. So if you decide to join us, go ahead and jump in that October ID course so that you can start with us in November. So we're looking forward to connecting with all of you guys, whichever level you need our support. And we can ready to call it evening, y'all. So you guys be good to yourselves and have the most amazing week that you can this coming week. And we will see you guys later.